Right, it is time to talk about some more Atari 2600 homebrew games. I feel bad that I missed a few on the last video, but there are just so many, there's no way for me to get them all in one video, so let's do another 43. Starting with this game called 21 Blue, which very clearly reminds me of a game of strip poker. I remember they had a game of strip poker for the Atari 8-bit computer. And this one's pretty basic. The graphic doesn't really show very good here on screen. It looks a little bit better when you see it in real life. Alright, here's one called AStar. And this is kind of an interesting, kind of a puzzle game where you can maneuver Pac-Man and you can maneuver this little square around that will stop Pac-Man from going in a certain direction. And you have to figure out how to get all the different fruits here by moving either Pac-Man or the square to block your path. Unfortunately, this does require a little bit of brain power, which I don't have much of. So I was only able to get past this first stage. This second one here got me a little bit flummoxed. Getting that strawberry was pretty easy, but then trying to figure out how to get some of these other strawberries here, I couldn't quite get there. There we go. That one's not too bad. Alright, this one's called Atari OS, and I think they were trying to make it feel like a Windows computer. You see you got this window that pops up when you click the computer. Then I tried to maybe move the window around and you couldn't really do anything, but when you click on the P here, you get a pretty decent version of Pong. And it's even single player, which is pretty cool. This game is called Because It's There, and it's pretty simple. All you have to do is make your way to the top and avoid this giant, I don't know, I guess it's a snowball. And you have ladders that you can use to climb up with. And you can also do these little platforms across gaps like that, which is kind of neat. The music is a little annoying, but I might just mute it here for the video. This one's called BLiP Football, and it's a take on the old Mattel handheld football. Now, I can barely remember how to play real football, let alone the Mattel version of the game, so I was just kind of fumbling around here. I remember just kind of hitting left or right really quickly, thinking I had the ball and that way I can get a touchdown, but I couldn't figure out how to play this one anymore. But it looks cool. Alright, this one is called Block In instead of Block Out, or Block Out? Breakout, I guess? I don't know. It's a two-player game, and obviously I don't have anybody to play with, so apparently all you have to do is hit the ball and knock the bricks to the other side. Would be a pretty cool two-player game, again, if I had a friend. Okay, this one is not a game, but it is a demo of a very popular Amiga demo called Boing, and basically it's just this ball bouncing around on the screen, but it's pretty neat. Okay, this one is one of my favorites. It's Chaotic Grill, and I wasn't sure what to expect from this until I noticed it was a Burger Time clone. And oh my gosh, this game is so great. Burger Time is one of my favorite games ever, and the original Atari 2600 version was so awful. It's just terrible. But this one is amazing. The graphics are really, really good. And the music is even good, considering what they had to work with. And it's got multiple stages, just like the arcade. And even the erratic behavior of the enemies is there too. You know, you think they're going to come right after you, but then they make a corner and go down a staircase. Oh, man, they almost got me there. Aww. Maybe the coffee could make you run a little bit faster, that'd be cool. I don't don't know, I'm just in awe of how awesome this game is. The only thing I would say as a downside is that the controls are a little bit slippery. But otherwise, fantastic game. I think I might have to get that one on cartridge. Alright, here's one called Colony 7, and it's a 4K game. I think Colony 7 was originally an arcade game. But this one's pretty basic. It's just, you just shoot the ships coming in and I guess try to protect your city from attack? But it doesn't look like the bombs are hitting the city at all. This one is called Connect the Dots, and it's about as simple of a game as you can get. You just have to hit the button as quick as you can. And I don't know, maybe this would be great as a two-player game, or you're trying to compete with your friend to see who can connect the dot the fastest, I guess. Okay, here's a game called Dead Planets, and it's kind of cool. It kind of reminds me of Adventure a little bit, where you're kind of wandering around these corridors, but the controls are very, I think, bad. You move a little bit too quickly. So what I end up having to do is basically tap the joystick everywhere I want to go, so that I don't accidentally run into a wall and die. But I think really all you have to do is go around and collect treasures. There doesn't appear to be any enemies or any kind of shooting or anything like that. I guess your biggest enemy is yourself. Alright, this one's called Deimos Lander. I believe it's a take on Lunar Lander. I guess you're trying to land on the moon of Mars or something like that. Is that where Deimos is? But the controls, they're very touchy, very quick, very fast. And unfortunately, they don't give you enough fuel to actually land. I'm trying to be very, very cautious here, and I just can't do it. I always run out of fuel or crash here on the side. Normally, I'm really good at Lunar Lander. But this one was pretty tough. Alright, here's another one of my favorite games, Draconian, which is a clone of the arcade game Bosconian. And this one is just going to blow your mind. If you haven't seen it before, it even has voice. The scrolling is just incredible here, and the graphics are mind-blowing, really. What really gets me is the voice. The fact that this game has voice. I don't have any idea what he just said there, but it doesn't help to hear it a second time. And he says blast off, but I always thought he said lock on. That one I got, alarm, alarm. But in case you couldn't guess, the goal here is to destroy the bases and avoid the asteroids and the mines and the enemy ships. But this game, it just blows my mind as to how good it is for the Atari 2600. Would you ever thought that you could have played this game on the 2600 back in the day? Honestly, this is one of those games that I would play on the 2600 for real all the time. It's just so good. I mean, check it out. You've even got the little radar map down there at the bottom. Brilliant. Brilliant game. Alright, here's one called Elevators Amiss. And originally I thought this was going to be like an elevator action kind of game, but basically all you do here is try to get to the stairs without getting hit by the elevators. And the unfortunate thing is that you cannot stop. Once you start moving, you're just going, that's it. And that makes the game quite a bit harder than I think it should be. I was able to get pretty far up here. But once you get to the top, I mean, it's almost impossible to get across. Okay, here's Fall Down, and this is kind of a popular style game where you're just racing your opponent to go through these platforms. And every time you get to it first, you get a point, which makes it a really good two-player game. I think if you get those little squares, you can do that little... You can dig a hole through the platform. Would be better if I had a friend to play with, though. Alright, here's one called Foreplay, and it's just basically a Connect 4 clone. And it's nice that you get to play against the computer here. But I'll tell you though, the computer is pretty much relentless. It doesn't give you a break. I couldn't get anywhere in this game. Might be better if I was playing it 2-player. I might actually have won. Pretty good game though. Alright, here's one called Go Fish. And it's pretty simple. All you have to do is swim around and eat fish that are smaller than you. And that was not one of them. We'll go with the white fish first. We'll just eat those, and then when you do that, you get bigger and you can start eating bigger fish. Or you can keep eating the smaller fish too, but, you know, just because a fish is the same color as you doesn't mean you get to eat them. I kept wondering though, how big do I have to get to start eating those octopuses, or octopi? Here's a simple one called Go Bee. I guess it's like Go Bikes, or Go Motorbikes or something. But it's pretty cool. Again, another 2-player game. And all you're trying to do is avoid the blocks here. Don't crash into the blocks. So since I was playing by myself, I thought it'd be fun to just kind of push him into the blocks there. Here's a game called Gunfight. Pretty old, but still a lot of fun. Kind of reminds me of Gunslinger, but a little bit more advanced. And instead of being an Old West theme, it seems more like you're a gangster. Even though you get that music when you win, that's interesting. But the first thing you have to do is shoot the guy's hat off. And once you do that, then you can shoot him and get a point. Ah, stop shooting me! And we got different types of stages too, which makes it interesting. And this one is kind of nice though, because it's not just 2-player. You can play against the computer. Alright, here's a game called Hunchy, and I want to say this was an arcade game? I could be wrong though. It's pretty basic. You just go travel from left to right and avoid obstacles. And in a way, it kind of reminds me of Smurf Adventure. Oh, here we go. Here's a swinging vine. Or a rope, maybe. That looked funny, him swinging across the rope. Alright, here's the sequel, Hunchy 2. And this one's a little bit more advanced. You have to collect these objects, in this case, the bells. And there doesn't appear to be any enemies on this screen here, but there is, I guess those are arrows maybe flying across the screen. You have to avoid those. Control is pretty tight, and it will allow you to jump on these ladders to get ahead of these arrows here. There is no music, but that walking noise is really irritating. Not as irritating as my voice, but it's pretty bad. Might be better if there just wasn't any walking sound at all. Oh, nope, 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 nope. I'm gonna try it. Oh, there's no way I can jump over that thing. Alright, here's a simple one called the Hungry Rectangle, and all you have to do is collect the circles. The problem is, you cannot stop moving. You're just constantly moving, and it makes it difficult to avoid the walls. Obviously, you don't want to hit the walls or it's game over. Just like that. It kind of reminds me of Snake a little bit, but without the character's tail getting bigger and bigger. It's just you're the square trying to eat the red dot. Pretty basic, and I'd imagine that would give your Atari joystick a real workout. Here's one called Jetman. And this one's pretty simple, but I really like it. All you have to do is collect the little fuel pods to launch this rocket. And one of the interesting things about this game is that it was written in only 1 kilobyte. So it's tiny in terms of the code that runs this game. And once you get all the fuel, you get to launch your rocket. And then another one lands. You gotta do it all over again. Here's one that surprised me called Knight Jumper, and it's extremely simple. If you know chess, you know that your knight character can only move in like an L shape. And I think the goal is to land on every square of the board without landing on the same square again. And I got pretty far, but eventually you run out of spaces to jump. And that's it. Here's a pretty awesome one called Kung Fu 2. I have to wonder though, what happened to Kung Fu 1? Maybe Kung Fu 1 is the one that's on the 2600 that's really, really bad. But check this out! This is so good! Look at the graphics on this! We got a sailing ship in the background. We've got our characters that are fighting each other. Pretty cool. I will say though that the controls are a little odd because if you push down you face a different direction. It'd be better if just the direction you moved was the way that you face. But check out that ending screen too, man. This is a pretty decent game. It needs a little bit of work, but yeah, it's pretty fun. Okay, here's one called Laser Assault. And it's pretty simple. You just shoot things. And you see these little questions that pop up there. And it will do different things in the game. In this case, turned everything black and white for some reason. And then if you hit life, you get an extra life. If you hit those arrows, it makes the characters go in a different direction. Pretty basic, but not too bad. Kind of reminds me of Carnival. Alright, here's one called Lead 1K. And again, very simple. All you have to do is just shoot everything and not let them get past you. Alright, here's an amazing one called Medieval Mayhem, which is a Warlords clone, I guess. I don't really like the term clone here. This game is more of a refurbishment of Warlords, where it makes the game a little bit more like the arcade than the Atari 2600 version is. Graphically, this game is a lot better, and I would say that the AI is a lot better as well. It is relentless. The computer does not give you any quarter whatsoever. I wasn't even able to beat these guys. If you're fast enough, you can kind of get over there and get that blue guy, but the red guy and the green guy, they're just terribly hard to beat. But I imagine if you had some friends and were playing it 4-player with them, it'd be a lot of fun. And also, when you kill your enemies, you also get multiple balls, which that makes it way more like the arcade. Alright, here's Mega Man. This is, I don't know if this is a complete game. I don't think it is. It's more of a demo of a... It's pretty awesome. The music is really good. The control is good. The animation's good. Looks like a Atari Basic game, but you know, that's fine. Atari Basic games are good. Couldn't figure out how to shoot these guys here, so I just decided to just run over them. And then here's the boss. Shockman or Pulse Man or something, I don't know. Get off me! Oh, jeez. Stop hoarding me. Oh, he got me. But yeah, that one's pretty cool. Here's one called Ooze. And it's pretty simple. You're just shooting this green ooze coming down. I guess it's supposed to be ooze, but you know, they just look like blocks to me, of course. The control's good, but it would be nice if it snapped a little bit to the middle of these ooze puddles. Alright, here's an awesome version of Pac-Man that was written in only 4 kilobytes, which is the same size as the original Todd Fry version of Pac-Man for the 2600. But look at this. This is what we could have had for Pac-Man back in the day. Maybe. I mean, the tools are a lot better these days, and you know, we know a lot more about the 2600 than we did back then. So I'm not gonna slam Todd Fry for what he wrote, but he did his best in the time frame and everything. But the fact that this can exist in 4K is just incredible. And then here we go, here's another version of Pac-Man that was written in 8K, and it even has like an opening animation, and opening music. But this is a fantastic version of Pac-Man. Both of these Pac-Man games are amazing. I noticed that the ghosts don't follow you in the side exits there, though. Nobody would have been complaining if we'd had this type of Pac-Man back then. Oh, check this out. You even get the little cutscene. Giant Pac-Man is coming to eat you. But man, this is an awesome version of Pac-Man. And I'm dead. Alright, here is Punch-Out, which is actually pretty cool for the 2600. It'd be nice if the characters were a little bit bigger, but it really does kind of feel like Punch-Out. I like the animation and you get the sound effects. Kind of reminds me of a Game Boy game, actually. Here's one called Push. This reminds me of a version of Tetris for the Nintendo DS, where you're competing against the computer, and you have to get the pieces to link up there in the middle, and then eventually your opponent will run out of room. This one doesn't look like it's finished. Still, I could see where it could be really good if they did finish it. Alright, here's QB. This is a homebrew that's been around for a while. And basically all you have to do is move these slider blocks around to match what's showing there on the right. So there's a bit of a puzzle element to it, trying to get them over to the right spots. And you do have to avoid these, I guess, like octopus guys or whatever. I don't know how I made him disappear there, but he just decided he didn't want to be on the screen anymore. But it's pretty good, kind of challenging. No, don't kill me, octopus guy. Alright, here is Rainbow Invaders, and this is pretty beautiful, actually, for a Space Invaders game. I like the animation of the different aliens. And when you shoot, it's kind of like Gorf, because if you miss, you can fire again. And I can't quite get the flying saucer there, but like in Gorf, when you hit the button again after you miss, you get to shoot again. But Rainbow Invaders is pretty cool. Alright, this one is called Razor's Edge, and it is a street brawling game, kind of like Streets of Rage or Final Fight, and you just kind of walk up to these people and just start beating them up. And at some point I learned that you could jump kick these guys, which made it quite a bit easier. I love the graphics in this, they're so good. And here we are fighting the first level boss. Again, the jump kicking thing just makes it so much easier. Alright, here we are on stage 2. This looks like a bar or something. Just keep jump kicking them. Just keep jump kicking them. Yeah, there we go. Look out! Oh, he tried to throw something at me. He was easy to beat. And then here we go with the boss again. Oh, take that! Take this! Oh yeah! Oh! And then, for some reason, I hit the button, and it said game over real quick, and then it started over again. So I guess this is just a 2-stage demo. Man, this is a good one. I like the graphics and the sounds, and the controls are really good. Alright, here's one called Space Rocks, which is an improvement on asteroids, as you can see. Look at this. This is incredible. I love how your ship can move around with so many more points. I mean, in the original game, I think you had maybe 8 directions, maybe it's 16 directions, but your ship here is just so much smoother. And the colors are really good. You can have multiple colored asteroids. But what blows my mind is how many asteroids are on the screen at once. And yeah, there's a little bit of flickering, but I just imagine these asteroids all being drawn individually. And in this version of the game I have shields, so I'm using them occasionally. And in this game you can also do different colors for the asteroids, as well as either shields or hyperspace or nothing. But as an asteroids clone, this is amazing. Space rocks. It's really fantastic. Alright, here's a game called Space Treat, and all you have to do is get up to the treat. I guess it's in space. This game very much reminds me of Frogger. All you have to do is just avoid these objects floating around, and once you get to the top, then you got to make your way back to the bottom. Oh, look out. No. Oof, just barely made it. I like the graphics in this. It's very colorful, and the motion is quick. What I don't really like is when you move left and right, it's very smooth. Maybe that's a good thing. Keeps me from hitting the enemies there. But that's a pretty fun game. Here's another amazing game called Strike Zone. And the graphics are just blowing my mind here. And as you can see, it is a bowling game. The controls are a little bit tricky to get used to. Push up on the joystick to start the little slider there, and then you hit the button in order to stop it. And if you hit it just right, you can get a strike pretty frequently. And I love these little in-game animations. They're so cool. Strike! Oh yeah. Okay, so I didn't get a strike every time. There we go, another strike. Final score, 141. That's way better than I do in real life. But check out this ending. There's actually several of these, which I'll show you here in a moment. Oh, I love that spare animation. That's really good. I gotta say, this is probably the best bowling game I've ever played. Maybe Wii Bowling is better, but it's not as much fun as this for some reason. Maybe I just enjoy this so much because it's on the Atari and you get some graphics that you are just blown away by. Strike! But here's a different ending screen with the bathrooms, but this one's my favorite right here. The pool table. Game over. Awesome, awesome game. Alright, this one's called The Terminator, and I really don't know how this is a Terminator game other than the music. This is a little grating, but still you can kind of recognize the Terminator music. Here's Vault Assault, which is a Space Zap clone. Space Zap was a pretty basic arcade game, basically just shooting one of the 4 directions, trying to keep these enemies from getting to your base. The arcade game was very archaic, I would say. This would have been a very appropriate game for the 2600 back in the day. Alright, here's one called Xanthiom. Xanthiom, I think is how you say it. Xanthiom 2600, which, as you can see, is a Metroid-style game. Now, I'll be honest here, I've never really been a big fan of Metroid, but this game is really good. And I think those are like missiles or something. Got different enemies here, and I guess just trying to find your way out of here. But kind of like Metroid, you have to shoot the little doors to go on to the next screen, which is kind of cool. I wasn't able to figure out how to shoot a lot of these weapons, but uh-oh, now we're falling down this huge pit. Whew, fortunately there's a platform there to save me. But yeah, Xanthiom, I can see where this could be a really good Metroid clone if they were to finish that. Seems like it needs a little bit more work. Alright, well there you have it. There's some more Atari 2600 homebrew games. Some of these you can actually pick up in the Atari Age store. But let me know, which one was your favorite? And did I miss anything? This will not be the last Atari 2600 homebrew games video that I make. There's just too many. Anyway, of the ones that I showed today, which ones were your favorite? Please let me know down in the comments. I thank you for watching, take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.